that India used to be called long time ago Eastern Ethiopia.
What?
Everybody knows that, right? No? Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. You also probably heard there is a big river in India called Ganges. Okay. To be frank, till 2 years back, I did not know what the meaning of the word Ganges. I simply know Ganges is Ganges. Do you know the name Ganges is one of the strongest and famous emperors of Ethiopia? That's right. Do you think some crazy Aryans would name a big river in India after an African emperor? Would not. Simple logic says that. In southern part of India, a particular god is being worshipped by the local people. His name is Murugan. He is always on top of the hill. And you go back to Eastern Africa, even today, for more than 25 tribals worship a god which is on the hill. His name is Murungu. And obviously there's no connection between these two people over 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 years. So I'm trying to bridge the gap. There is a distinct and clear connection between the ancient India and the ancient Africa.
Peace to the gods. You already know. I ain't gonna wait around. You know, we got to get it in. And today we definitely gonna tap on why Ra is God. You know, a lot of y'all probably know AmenRa, more famously spoken as. So I'm gonna clarify why I say Ra is God. And that should be by all aspects. That should even be in the scientific mind of the atheists. I mean, all these religions are coming out of what? They're coming out of Helios, Biblios. It's coming out the Holy Book, right? Holy Bible. Let me pull up the image for you. All right. Let's see what I can pull up. But y'all tap that like button as you come in. You know, it's like wiping your feet at the door. You know, I would appreciate it. So boom. Let me see this. Yeah, peace to the family. So, like we say, the reason Ra is God, because we're dealing with this Holy Bible. We're dealing with the Helios Biblios. You know, our people get lost up in the words to the point they become trigger words. So, you know, they let words trigger them. Like nowadays, you can't use word. You can't use a word like, you can't even say leader, right? You know, it's going to trigger somebody. You can't even say the word worship. It's going to trigger somebody. You know, so we have to know synonyms just to, in order to even talk to normal people. So instead of saying worship, you'd have to say honor. You know, instead of saying leader, you would have to say instruct for these people. What's going on, God? Let me go ahead and drop this link too. But yeah, this is an open conversation. Because is that honest that I ain't gotta avoid anybody to still speak the truth. Because there could be a diehard Christian, and I could still get my point across there, like I'm saying, Ra is God, right? So boom, back to this Helios Biblios. Biblios means Bible that we say, and that means books. Biblios means books. So what we saying holy means Helios. Helios means the sun. So we talking about the sun's books. So everybody up in the uproar behind these religions. I mean, they can't even see that it's sun worship, which I am a child of the sun. You know what I mean? So y'all need to act right. You know what I'm saying? Definitely honor the sun, but don't paint him as no European or anything like that. That's not even a child of the sun. But back to the point, Ra. Ra is God because Ra is the sun. And we talking about these sun's books, the sun worship, this solar worship, just like you also have lunar worship. People do worship the moon. That's why I say we're polytheistic. We have many gods. People do worship Saturn. People honor, which is what the word worship means. They honor all of these celestial bodies. That's why we have them named the days of the week. In Spanish, the days of the week are called dias, right? Dias meaning day, but dia means goddess, or dio. Dio means God. That's why the days of the week are named after gods, because the days of the week are dios or dias. They are gods and goddesses. Just a simple word, day itself. That just helps prove, like I say, the word D, the letter D, period. D means God, right? I can show you that. But right now, I'm going to get with Ra and let Ra prove himself. Because no matter what culture it is, the highest deity is most certainly probably the sun god of that religion or that culture. There's nothing that benefits us more in life than the sun. Being that this was a water world, the entire planet was covered in water, we don't know the significance of that, right? Let me pull up something right quick, hold on. Because I want to clarify my statement that water in its natural state is a solid. Let me show you. Let's see what I can see. But yeah, like I'm saying, water. This was a water planet, water world. And water in its natural state is truly a solid. Water cannot be compressed. You cannot compress water. You cannot disintegrate water. You can't minimize the size of water whatsoever. There's no machine in the world that can compress it. So water is truly a solid. And the only thing that makes the water move is the sun. The sun is the only thing that makes the water move. That's why the oceans move. This is why we have land, because the sun helped evaporate enough water and suspend it in the air. It's suspended in the air. It's a continuous up and down that there's always water in the air, in the oxygen. Air is water. And that's all thanks to the sun. Water would be a solid and pretty much impenetrable. Without the beautiful sun. Without the sun, there's no earth, because the water would be without form. That's what they mean by, in the Bible, how the earth was formless and without void. So of course, without the sun, the water would be ice. I mean, I think there's no way around that also. So without heat, without the sun, water is a complete solid, and the sun has brought life to this planet to the point that we actually even have the liquid form of water, the air form of water. It's all thanks to the sun. So that's Ra. So we're going to give Ra his credit as far as what we got going on. Because we've been dealing with the Holy Bible. Like it says, the New Testament, or really the Holy Bible altogether. Well, this ain't New Testament because it was never called the Holy Bible until they compiled all of it with the New Testament. Before, it would have been the Tanakh or the Torah, which were parts of the Old Testament. The New Testament Bible used to be called Helios Biblios. Helios is the Greek word for the sun. Biblios means book, meaning sun book or sun's books, right? All the ancients worshiped the sun as part of their gods because they knew it was a life-giving force to all of creation and vital for the continuation of life. I mean, I should go without saying, but we're in a day and age where I don't know if everybody get it. That's for sure. Yeah, sun and moon. We talking about duality. I say we have sun worship as well as lunar worship. We have lunar deities as well as solar deities. So yeah, for sure. Like I say, all the celestial bodies. Saturn is real big in many, many cultures. That's why we have a Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is Sabado. Sabado is Saturn's day. Saturn day. Right? Or like we say Saturnalia. We done heard all of that, Let me get back with this. So let me see. Was it on this? All right. Oh, what I wanted to touch. Hold on, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna do this first. Touch on Ra.
The sun played a very important role in ancient Egyptian life. It was responsible for life, light, and warmth.
Yeah,
it was natural then, given the vital functions of the sun, that a culture might begin to worship it in the form of a god.
Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Ra, the sun god, was considered to be the king or father of all gods, and was typically worshipped by pharaohs as the primary deity of Egypt. Ra served as the primary deity for Egyptians, starting around 2700 BCE in the Second Dynasty. Ra is always symbolized by a large golden disk. When in human form, he is most commonly depicted as a man with a hawk head, wearing the golden disc on top of his head, with a serpent wrapped around the base of the disc like a crown. Ra is generally shown holding a scepter in his left hand and an ankh in his right hand. The ankh is like a cross with a loop at the top and is the ancient Egyptian symbol for life. Sometimes Ra is shown in animal form. Most commonly, Ra is shown as a hawk, but sometimes also a beetle, lion, ram, or snake, as all of these were considered powerful animals in ancient Egypt. In iconography, Egyptians sometimes painted Ra as simply a large solar disk between two large falcon wings. Ra was incorporated into many aspects of Egyptian art, and he can be seen in
Ra the Sun God, and Ra Sun God powers. Updated, May 19, 2021. Table of Contents. Ra God. Overview. Ra was one of the most important gods worshipped in ancient Egypt. He was the sun god and the creator of all other gods and humans. He was worshipped starting in around 2600 BCE and was a major part of ancient Egyptian religious life. In art, Ra was usually depicted as a man with a hawk's head. However, there was a great deal of variation in his depictions. Ra, god of the sun, also had many names, including Re, Pra, Raitawi, a female version of Ra, and sometimes Aten. Ra also had a secret name that anyone who knew it could use to have power over him. However, this precious information about Ra the sun god was not even known to the other gods. Amen-Ra sun god. Amen-Ra, sun god of ancient Egypt. While Ra is still famous in the modern day, many people have also heard of Amen-Ra, sun god of ancient Egypt. Amen-Ra was actually a composite god who came to prominence around 1500 BCE. He was an amalgamation of the earlier gods Amen, god of air, and Ra, god of the sun. Amen-Ra was considered the father of the pharaohs and the source from which their divine power flowed. It was actually fairly common for gods to be combined in this way. Various depictions of Ra combined with other gods led to the creation of alternate names for Ra, including Ra Harakti, Ra and Horus, Sobek Ra, Ra and Sobek, Kanum Ra, Nemu and Ra. There are alternate spellings of all of these names, due to the difficulty in accurately transliterating ancient Egyptian text. Egyptian sun god Ra. Story. The Egyptian sun god Ra's story is complex and fascinating. The various ways ancient Egyptians interpreted and depicted Ra contributed to a plethora of stories about him and his role in divine and mortal life. It is important to remember that ancient Egyptian civilization lasted for nearly 3,000 years, and much changed during the time. As such, ancient Egypt is not a monolith, and many stories and depictions of religious figures may change and even contradict themselves over time. Ra. Origin. Ra, sun god of ancient Egypt. There are several different stories that explain Ra's origin. These tend to be differentiated based on whether Ra is considered the ultimate god or simply a very important god. In one story, in the beginning of the world there was only darkness and an infinite ocean. In this space, Ra willed himself into existence and then created other gods. In another version of the story, the god who created himself from the void was Amen created an egg and set it to float in the endless ocean, and Ra emerged from the egg. After the creation of the gods, most ancient Egyptian sources attribute the creation of humans to Ra. He is said to have created humans either by weeping or by cutting himself and allowing his blood to form into people. Ra's duties. As the sun god, Ra was responsible for making the sun rise and set each day. It was said that he took 2 trips across the water each day, one to bring the sun up and one to bring it down again. The early morning trip was known as Metet, meaning an increase in strength, while the evening trip was called Semkedet, or a decrease in strength. There were also specific names associated with Ra in the early morning and in the evening. In the morning, he was often called Khepri, and was depicted as a person with a scarab beetle for a head. In the evening, he was more often known as Atum. Ra and other Egyptian gods. Ra had strong connections with a number of other Egyptian deities. Because of the complexity of ancient Egyptian mythology, there is a degree of ambiguity in Ra's relationships with other gods and goddesses. Generally speaking, it is accepted that Ra is the father of the twins Shu and Tefnut, gods of dry and humid air respectively. Ra is also the father of the goddess Mayat, who represents cosmic order and balance. He also had 3 other daughters, Hathor, Sekhmet, and Bastet. Bastet in particular is often depicted alongside Ra in works of art, usually in the form of a cat. Even though Ra is often depicted as having created himself, he is also considered the son of the goddess Neith. Ra symbols and powers. Like all gods, Ra is associated with a number of specific symbols and powers. These symbols are combined and altered in different ways in Egyptian art, sculpture, and rite. Depictions of Ra. The most prominent Ra symbol is the sun, which is usually depicted as a red or gold disk above Ra's head. Sometimes, Ra is actually depicted just as the sun disk flanked by hawk's wings. More commonly, he is a man with a hawk's head. Often, Ra is carrying a scepter and an ankh, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life. As Khepri, Ra is shown with a beetle for a head, which is one of the most common alternate depictions of him. When he is combined with other gods, he usually takes on their attributes as well as his own. An amulet depicting the Eye of Ra or the Eye of Horus. To unlock this lesson, you must be a study.com member. Create your account. What are Ra's powers? Ra controls the sun and the moon. He has the power of creation and is responsible for the creation of many other gods as well as human. What is Ra the god known for? Ra is known for being a highly influential god in ancient Egyptian mythology. He is associated with the sun and is sometimes combined with other gods like Amen and Horus. Register to view this lesson. Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Symbol and story. AmenRa's powers related study materials. Browse by lessons. Create an account to start this course today. Used by over 30 million students worldwide.
Yeah. And even in the Hindu, you got Surya, Yah. In different cultures, Yah, of course, is God in their culture. They're saying Yah also is a god, and it's the sun god, Surya. Right? And this is the Hindu culture. Just, tying it all together. It's really all Ra. It's all sun worship. You feel me? Ra is God.
Surya. Surya in his chariot. Surya sculpture. Next. Fast facts. Pronunciation. Suryaa. Origin. India. Role. Sun god. Wives. Sharanya, Ragi, Prabha. Who is Surya? Surya is both the god of the sun and the sun itself. A high-ranking deity, especially in the earlier Hindu scriptures, notably the Vedas, which date as far back as 1500 BC, he is worshipped as the supreme god by the small source. He is, however, also recognized by most Hindus, who say a special mantra called the Gayatri mantra at the dawn of the day to Surya. Surya is the supreme source of energy and light and the origin of the universe. He controls the seasons, so he was of particular importance to the agricultural community. He is also a healer god, and considered to bring good luck. Many shops in India have a symbol of the sun on or near their front door. In later scripture, Surya, also known by the name Savita, lost some of his prominence to Vishnu. Although his image appears in many temples, there are just a few dedicated specifically to him. The most famous is the Temple of the Sun in Orissa, India. Origin. Surya is an early deity in the Hindu creation myth. He was written about in the Rig Veda, the oldest of the texts. When the universe was created, the egg of the world split into 2 parts. The silver half became the earth and the gold half became the sky. The parts inside of the egg became the mountains, the clouds and the waters. Lord Brahma emerged from the cosmic egg and created the supreme god Vishnu. The very first sound in the cosmos, Om, united with the intelligence of Vishnu and Surya was created. He is depicted most often riding in a chariot drawn by 7 horses with his charioteer, Varuna, the god of dawn. The 7 horses represent the 7 chakras, spiritual centers, in the human body and the 7 colors in a rainbow. Surya has either 2 hands, each holding a lotus flower to symbolize rebirth, or 4 hands that hold a conch shell, a disc representing the chakras, a lotus and a mace, ancient weapon. Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra dedicated to Surya is considered one of the most powerful mantras in the Hindu religion. It is believed that the order and choice of words is arranged specifically to create an energetic power that impacts the person who chants in their body, their mind and spiritual self. The mantra is the very essence of the Vedas. It begins with the sound of Om, the very first sound that ever existed. Om is also a metaphor for divine energy and the oneness of all beings or a supreme being. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitar Varenyayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prakadai. The general meaning of the ancient Sanskrit chant. We meditate on the Supreme Lord and Creator whose divine light illuminates all, the realm of the physical, mental and spiritual. May this divine light open our hearts and inspire our intellect. Family of Surya. According to legend, Surya had 3 wives, Saranyu, the goddess of the clouds, Ragi and Prabha. Saranyu was the mother of Manu, and the twin gods Yama, the god of death, and his sister Yami, the mother goddess.
I don't know what happened. Let me see. Yep.
According to legend, Surya had 3 wives, Saranyu, the goddess of the clouds, Ragi and Prabha. Saranyu was the mother of Manu, and the twin gods Yama, the god of death, and his sister Yami, the mother goddess.
Okay.
According to legend, Surya had 3 wives, Saranyu, the goddess of the clouds, Ragi and Prabha. Saranyu was the mother of Manu, and the twin gods Yama, the god of death, and his sister Yami, the mother goddess. Later, she also gave birth to the Ashvin twins, the divine horsemen that symbolize the sunrise and sunset. After their marriage, Saranyu couldn't bear the intense light and heat of the midday sun, so she created a shadow of herself called Chaya to step into act as Surya's wife. Chaya, the shadow wife, had 2 sons and 2 daughters, apparently before Surya figured out what was going on. Saranyu hid in the forest and transformed herself into a mare to keep Surya from recognizing her, but the god turned himself into a horse and went after her, and they eventually reunited. Still suffering from his radiance, she was chronically exhausted. Finally, with the help of her father, they toned down Surya's brightness by 1/8, and Saranyu was able to live more easily with her husband. The second wife, Ragi, gave birth to a son named Rabanta. Prabha had a son named Prabhata, which means morning. Other tales of Surya. In other Hindu texts, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, there are also tales of Surya. When he was a baby, Hanuman, the supernatural monkey, stretched up to grab the sun because he thought it was a tasty mango. He put Surya in his mouth and the world went dark. The gods knew something was wrong, so Lord Indra, the god of lightning, sent a bolt straight at Hanuman's jaw and he dropped the Because he was always misbehaving, Hanuman was temporarily stripped of his magical powers, namely his ability to fly and transform himself. When he grew up, he needed a teacher and appealed to Surya to take him under his wing. Forgiving him for the incident from his childhood, Surya reminded him of his gifts, and taught Hanuman to lead the army of monkeys. Hanuman took all his lessons facing his teacher while his chariot rode swiftly across the sky, so he was always going backwards so as to not rudely turn his back on his guru. Hanuman and his monkey army eventually help Rama, a reincarnation of the god Vishnu, to save his wife from a demon. In another myth of Surya, Kunti, the aunt of Lord Krishna, received a special mantra from a sage. Chanting the mantra would have allowed her to summon a god and bear his child. She didn't take the mantra too seriously and, not believing it would actually work, she tested it out by summoning Surya. Forced to fulfill the powerful mantra, Surya came to her, and she had a son from Surya but still remained a virgin. Unable to deal with the idea of being an unwed mother, she abandoned her child. Karna later grew up to be a great warrior in the mythological Kurukshetra war. Historical influence. The practice of yoga also originated in the Vedas thousands of years ago. Known for its physical, mental, and spiritual benefits, yoga has millions of devotees in the Western world as well as in the East. The basis of yoga practice begins with the salute to the sun, Surya Namaskar. It has been said that the sun salutations are the movements of Hanuman facing Surya as the chariot traveled across the sky, showing his gratitude for the lessons he learned, honoring Surya as the source of energy and light for the world. Every day the world over, students stand facing their teacher as they perform their Surya Namaskar series with love and devotion in a show of respect for the tradition of honoring a teacher and the great Surya, who illuminates our lives and the universe.
Yeah, that's fire. Because to me, that's like just showing you Ra in another culture. You know, whether you want to call it Ra, Yah, like they say, Surya, you know, Mithra. You know, we're going to touch them all because, you know, it's all Ra. It's all sun worship. It's all solar worship. And this is nothing to be demonized because I don't need, you know, the protectant when I go to the beach. You feel me? Sunscreen. I don't need that. So I honor Ra. I don't know if people understand the word honor is synonymous with the word worship. And people hear the word worship and think about kissing somebody's feet, kissing somebody's butt. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? If you just gave somebody their props, that's honoring them. It's like saying honor roll. Do your kid not deserve to be honored? Or whatever the case may be. Like we've lost that. Even as adults, we need an honor system. You know? Shoot. You know, that's why I guess that's why we got Mother's Day and Father's Day. But at the same time, maybe people should take it serious then and honor the right people. And it should be more than once a year anyway. But anyways, right? Back to Ra being everywhere also. That's the point of sun worship. Like they kind of said it a little backwards though. When it was when you hear like AmenRa is AMIN Ra, Amen. Then you got AMEN, AmenRa. Then you got AMUN, Amun Ra. So they kind of said it backwards. But when you're hearing the men, MIN means moon. And it's actually referring to the moon as is transcendent and going down and the sun is coming up. So that in the morning is Amen, AMIN, Ra. In the midday, when the sun is at its highest, it's Amen, Ra, AMEN. And then at the end of the night, you know, the evening, when the sun is going down and the moon is coming back up, is Amun Ra. So, you know, there was a little wrong on that. I had to just correct it. Let me see. Okay, I still didn't read this. No, we did. And don't tell me, I don't think I was sharing this damn screen, was I? I should have been, but I don't think I was. All this time. That's my bad. I think y'all heard the video, but I don't think y'all didn't see the image of everything it was saying. You didn't see word for word. That's my apologies. Matter of fact, let me see when I go to another screen. I just want to see something.
Surya in his chariot. Surya sculpture. Prep next. Fast facts. Pronunciation. Suryaa. Origin. India. Role. Sun god. Wives. Sharanya, Ragi, Prabha. Who is Surya? Surya is both the god of the sun and the sun itself. A high-ranking deity, especially in the earlier Hindu scriptures, notably the Vedas, which date as far back as 1500 BC, he is worshipped as the supreme god by the small soul. He is, however, also.
Yeah, that's my apologies. At least y'all heard the article, but it wasn't really any pictures to see anyways. But you could have read it word for word. That's about it. And it's just some images of Surya. Like I'm saying, the Yah is obviously the reason it's called the sun. Like we say Yahweh. You know, I knew. Like I say, we're gonna touch on them. I knew. Mithra. Even when we say Om was the oldest name for the sun. Hold on. I got the same article back to back. Yep. Yeah, like I say, Om is really the oldest name for the sun. Or it's always been associated with the sun because they're saying this is the frequency or the sound that is projecting. Because even the word sun, sun actually comes from S-O-N, right? The German word for sun, S-O-N. Sometimes you'll see it spelled S-O-N-N-E, but like I guess that means sunny. But what I'm saying is sun, the word sun means sound. Hold on, let me pull that up also. I don't know why they playing. Oh, I put sun. That's why they're gonna act dumb. They're gonna act dumb. All right. All right. The Latin root word sun means sound. This root is the word origin of a fair number of English vocabulary words, including sonar or sonata. The root sun is easily recalled through the word sonic, for a sonic boom makes a deafening sound. Like you'll even see the music company Sony. Watch this. All right. All right. How to say sun in German. Soul also means sun, right? Soul is a god. That's why we say we have soul. That's the literal reason we have soul, that we claim soul, is that internal light. That's why when we speak on sorcery, we're dealing with people that are dealing with celestial bodies, like preferably the sun or the moon. They're tapping into the source. So it's considered sorcery, right? And how to say sun in German. Go to another one that might be a little easier. Right. Let me see if they on point. Here's a word for you to use in your Google searches. Etymology. So this person's saying they don't come from the same root. That's why they don't got a lot of ups on their post. By simply googling sun etymology. Hold on. There's got to be some other people talking about it too. That's my own point. Right. All right. It's saying it right here. Sun, Old English, sun, sunny, sunne, the sun. From Proto-Germanic, sunan, on means God, or meaning the Most High, or meaning the sun. Source also of Old Norse, Old Saxon, Old High German, sunna, like we say, sunai, sunai, sunny, Muslim, and all that, right? Muslim of the sun. So Middle Dutch, sun, Dutch, zon, German, sun, Gothic, sunno, sun, right? From Proto-Indo-European, swin, sun, sewin, alternative root, a form of root, sour, when we getting soul and all that, the sun, right? So like I say, sun, right? So it was S-O-N, right? Right here. So it was S-O-N to mean the S-U-N. So since that's the case, we can go back to what we just said. Watch this. We can, okay. All right. We can go back to sun. What means sound? So S-O-N is the S-U-N. S-O-N means sound. You see how they'll spell sound with the O and the U, and spell sun either with an O or with an U. They don't put it. They don't put them both, but we put it both of them when we saying sound to try to differentiate what we might mean. But it all stems from the original sound or son or sun, and it was Om, because Om is that sound that's being projected. Om is the reason, it's the basis of meditation. So if people don't even have a religion and they just meditate, Om or Ra is still God. We still get our intelligence from the sun. The sun gives intelligence. Right. Let's see if Google on point. Cause you got people been dropping updating their stuff, look like. Oh shoot. Let me see. But it definitely gives it to the plant life and all life on Earth. How does the sun affect intellectual skills? Oh, that's in astrology, but still, let me see. There's in so many other ways. The Sun Tzu. This I believe it's Japanese or Chinese, intellectual book, like almost like a Hermetica to the Chinese. You see, it's literally called the Sun Tzu. So it's the sun's books. Also, just like all of this biblical books are. They're all Helios Biblios. They're all books of the sun. Whether we talking about the Sun Tzu or the Helios Biblios. And yeah, they playing. You know how Google is. Yep, been called by many names. Like I said soul. Soul means sun. You know, and SOL is where you get the SOUL. Just like with the word sound, they only put the O and the U together when we say sound, but sun, SON or SUN, both for sun. So SOL, you know, they putting the, you know, S, and they putting the O and the U when we say soul in English. But even if you were to just put SUL or SOL or SOUL, it's still the same word, soul. So we know that we literally have soul, which would be that light, that internal light. You know, that's why even in the Bible it says, you know, seek ye knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But above all, seek ye light. You're supposed to be seeking light. We're supposed to be adding, you know, light to the dark places of our minds. You know what I mean? Turn on them switches. Yep. Yeah, they still. I'd have to search all day for them to give you the basic truth. But the sun definitely gives everything intelligence. It's just like saying you could never be truly healthy without a certain amount of sunlight every day. Without a certain amount of sunlight every day, you can never be truly healthy. Yep. Peace to the gods. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Can we get 2 more likes? I appreciate y'all. For sure. Y'all share it if you can, you know. Even if you can't put it on your community, just send it to a friend. You know, somebody you know ain't no hater. But yeah, we're gonna finish this off. You know, why Ra is God.
Sun gods. These sun gods are being so unreasonable. So what if they're ancient and used to be the center of sun worship for thousands of years? That doesn't mean that they own the ball of flames. But it was just hanging there in the sky with nobody's name on it. Everybody knows what that means, finders keepers. The sun is the source of all light and life. Maybe, suddenly, your entrepreneurial spirit awake. You could sell the sun for gazillions. Maybe to a local agricultural society or the government. Perhaps an evil overlord. Though before anyone can get their mitts on a single ray of sunshine, you still have to get past the sun gods and goddesses, aka the solar deities, just waiting to present their mythology as credentials that they are the true guardians of the sun. Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Less than IMG width equals 933, height equals 1024, SRC equals https://haiku.b-cdn.net/wp-content/uploads/2020/05/raw.jpg, alt equals Egyptian sun god, class equals WP image.
Yeah, they talking too much. Let me see. Stop playing. I don't know why they playing. All right. But Ra, you know, sun god, creator of everything. He even created himself. You know, Ra's worship was so central to ancient Egypt that some historians suggest the culture had a monotheistic religion, with Ra as the only supreme deity. And that's pretty true, because that was the whole point of Osiris and the crew not being created. You know, till Houthi created them with those extra 5 days of light. And it was always prophesied that if Ra had children, his children, his child, one of them would overtake him as a supreme God. So he vowed never to have kids. I believe he probably even ate them. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't having that. He was the first Roe versus Wade. It was Ra versus Wade. And this never got overturned. So what I'm saying is, Ra was getting rid of all of them. But then, with the help of Tahuti creating those 5 extra days of light, he created Osiris and Horus and such, and that led to Osiris being that supreme deity, being worshipped, being venerated higher than Ra himself. So it's like the prophecy came true as far as that story goes. But Ra's worship was so central to ancient Egypt that some historians, it's tough not to feel intimidated as you face down the most important god from ancient Egypt. He doesn't exactly look human despite having the body of a man. He gazes at you with the face of a falcon, and there's a cobra sitting on his head. Yeah, you wasn't going to stare him in the face. You know what I mean? And if you fake these eyes, you can't stare in. You know what I mean? Hey. Thankfully, the snake is a sign of royalty and authority, which is why there are so many snake gods in Egyptian mythology. Shout out to my Nagas. You already know. It's not a hat that doubles as a weapon, which is a good thing because the sun god Ra is definitely not pleased with you. Well, you are selling his property. You tell him very respectfully that anyone can make that claim. Let me see. It's not sufficient evidence that he steers the sun as his own personal chariot across the sky every day. You can shovel coal locomotive and puff it down the track. Doesn't mean you invented and thus on the train. Ra cannot produce a patent number. This upsets him because the ancient Egyptians needed no such legalities. They were convinced that the sun God had shaped the entire cosmos. True enough, Ra was powerfully connected to the sun, and everything from the disc on his head to his left eye symbolized the fiery ball in space. The people built countless temples in his honor as Ra represented life, warmth, et cetera, et cetera. Soul. I'm going to say soul means God. The Norse sun god or goddess. So your soul is coming from the goddess herself. It's all connected to that divine feminine energy, that kundalini energy, that serpent energy, could be described as negative. That's what feminine, the feminine actually represents the negative energy. Doesn't mean bad, but soul, Norse gods and goddesses, sun goddess. My twin brother is Mani, the Norse moon god. Even they telling you, even the cultures are telling you that the sun and the moon are twins. That means they're identical. That means preferably what I'm saying is they're the same size. The sun and the moon. Shout out to the, flat motherfucking power. You know what it is. But her most famous legend She had to steal the sun chariot as punishment for her father's arrogance. Could be a medieval invention and not an authentic story from pre-Christian times. Yeah, they added the part where dad was, forcing his daughter to do this. Even the gods do it. You're going to do it too, daughter. No. New day and time. The brother Mani makes no attempt to take the sun off the auction block. He's a moon god. So this isn't really his problem, but his sister's pretty steam. Sol is the reigning goddess of light, and the solar deity in Norse mythology. It's bad enough that 2 lethal wolves chase her chariot across the sky every day. Now she has to convince a mere mortal to give back her wheels. Yep, she got the sun as a ride too. They just wilding with their narration. But they, breaking it down slow. Or, they're making it into a sample size. What I'm saying, Helios, the sun god of the Greeks. Like I said, Helios, Biblios. It's all sun worship. And none of them predate Ra. So Ra is the granddaddy. You want the OG perp, or you want this new age perp that ain't even purple? Take your pick. But Helios, the sun god of the Greeks. God associated with the sun, son of Hyperion and Thea. Thea meaning goddess. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, On means the most high. So there is more than one On, and he's saying he's the Hyperion On. What was the name of but yeah, I can't even remember the name of the eldest Anu. But it's okay. I don't want to bring him up right now, but because we know the Anu that we deal with is the sun. So we talking about Ra. We talking about why Ra is God. It's really all about the importance of the sun. Like there's nothing greater. You don't have to have a religion. Wake up and smell the coffee. Appreciate the sun. Unless y'all loving all that snow where y'all at. How y'all loving that snow? Do you want Ra to come visit? Like, for real. Would you run away from Ra right now? If you was a farmer or something, then you would really be missing Ra right now. For sure. I'm in Florida. It's been getting kind of cold, so I feel sorry for the rest of y'all. But Ra Ashe, show up. I ain't gonna lie, they say our cold spell is over with down here in Florida. They say it's over with already. I'm happy. For real. Bring Ra back. Helios, a Titan god, had a strong following and was the patron deity and city god of the island of Rhodes. So like we said, like over here we got Rhodes Island. Damn. City god on the island of Rhodes, and we got Rhodes Island. Ain't that something? Where his famous bronze statue guarded the harbor. The huge figure was among the 7 wonders of the ancient world until an earthquake did away with it. You seen Helios, sun god, on his way. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, they always got to keep joking. Arena, the Hittite goddess of the sun. When we be seeing these sun discs, even though that right there, I don't care what nobody say, is a sombrero. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. I mean, if anybody, if you agree that's a sombrero, press 1. If you disagree, press 2. Just let me know you're out there. You know what I mean? But I would say that's a sombrero on this Hittite goddess, Arena. She looked like a little Aztec queen. know what I mean? Like she got the sombrero, but when we see a sombrero, that means a person living in the sun. When we see in a sun disk, that means they represent the sun. It all represents the sun. You know, Ra is involved anytime and every time that we are depicted like that or dressed like that. Sun god, his wife of Tauna, mother of Missoula, Nerik, Zibalanda, and Telepino. Royal couples donated a disc of precious metal presenting the sun to her temple every year. She goddess of light. Instead of bringing daylight with the cherry arena, soaked up the worship of royals. Ooh-wee! Dang. She got her light from the work, you know what I'm saying, from being worshipped by the royals. That's what's up. She different. Kings prayed to her every morning, were crowned in her sacred city, graced with the same name as the goddess, and acted as her priest on earth. That's just how it is. That's the sun in every culture. And on top of all that, queens became her priestesses. Heck, Karina was even called the queen of all lands. That's for sure. Surya, the Hindu sun god. All right, Surya. Hindu gods and goddesses. Gods associated with the sun. Father of Yama, the god of the dead, married to Samjana. When his wife left him, Surya stalked her as a horse. It's almost like Vishnu, when Vishnu, one of his avatars is Hari Grava, which is a man with the head of a horse. Pretty much where we get Mr. Ed from. And the reason Ed is an education, but really Ed means a training. But it could be associated with education because of Vishnu being Hari Grava. And he brought intelligence to whoever his keepers were, even from the form of a horse. But in this case, he got beheaded, I believe, and transplanted with the head of a horse and still brought life to it. Surya is used to dealing with demons. He slays the creatures with each morning sun to end the darkness and herald each new day. That's what the sun does in the real time, every day. Like, if the sun never came up, even crooked people might not run and hide. They run, they're vampires. Might as well, because they don't do what they do in the broad day, in the broad sunlight. It's in the dark that most evil people tend to shine or show themselves, right? So the sun puts an end to a lot of things, not just puts an end to all of the rodents. All the rodents of the world hide when the sun comes out. But he can slay a human without disrespecting those who built many temples in the town. He was once worshipped while he is the creator of the universe. Never mind what Ra says in that regard. And as the soul that radiates warm light on earth, he has another plan to deal you. Let me see. All right. Huitzilopochtli, the Aztec god of the sun. The Aztec god of the sun. Look, he got that drum. Huh? Like he hanging out. Ain't no way That's just a ring. Like they would have threw some deer skin, some kind of skin across that. That would have been a drum. That'd have been banging. They'd have had cymbal like sounds off the side of that. It would have been all of that. It'd have been all of that. And like a guitar to a degree, but you banging the drum to do it. You talking about leading the charge. Yeah, how else would you praise the sun? With nothing? With something that the wind just blowing through? No. That's real instrumentation. Right? Wheat's a little poked to me. Right? Ashe. Let me see. God associated with the sun, also considered a war god. His name means hummingbird on the left. So the Huitzli is obviously the humming, bird part. And then you got Pokely, which must be the left. Mm. Yep. I'd take that shot at that in the dark. But the gods and goddess send him to grow your doubt. Don't think they don't spot your weak moment. And this Aztec sun god is uniquely qualified to ply you with guilt. At first, he's nowhere in sight, but then a tiny hummingbird flutters closer. This boggles your mind. He introduces himself so you know that this is Huitzilopocli. But how can any of the Aztec gods be this cute? When you heard that the Aztec deity of light and war was headed your way, you kind of expected a gore fest. But it turns out Huitzilopocli doesn't take the form of a bird because the Aztecs thought he loved nectar. Yeah, as the god of war, he was responsible for warriors, and when they died, they supposedly came back as hummingbirds. This gets a little darker, though. The Aztecs were also convinced that successful sun worship needed a little assistance. As a solar deity, he was also always in danger of being overcome by the darkness. So the Aztecs offered a helping hand to help the god to keep the god strong. He was regularly given blood from a human heart as a meal, with the human sacrifice being the easy way to attain this delicacy. So he needed that adrenochrome, huh? He needed all the minerals. Yeah, y'all, we hear you. But the hummingbird shrugs. If you keep the sun, he'll fall into darkness, and more darkness equals more human sacrifices. He mentions all, and that's true when you think about it, but I don't know about the damn. I don't know why he had to start that blood process. But he said, if you keep the sun, I know that part. He said, he said he'll fall into darkness. That's like saying the world will fall into darkness if the sun was kept. And more darkness equals more human sacrifices. I guess it's the God's way of saying something has to be given to that dark part of the universe. It's like saying somebody has to die every day. I don't think somebody has to be killed every day. But since people do pass every day, whatever process these guys speaking of need to be done, just don't kill nobody to do it, so that that sun could rise and purity be back. As far as if there was no light, you talking about darkness. It's gonna be darkness out of the hearts of the people that's gonna get to shine. Like I say, when the sun shines, all the rodents of the world, whether animal or human, they all run and hide to a degree. The majority of them are run and hide. So I'm rocking with Ra. I want them to keep bringing that light, but then they got some demands on the board too. Inti, the Incan sun god, Inti, and shout outs to Empress Ninti, huh? That's this Incan sun god. Incan mythology, sun god. created by Viracocha, the supreme deity in Inca mythology, married to the moon goddess Quila. So we'll have names like Quila, and people be like, oh, that's a ghetto name. No, it's an Incan name. So gold was believed to be the sweat of this god, right? Inti loves rituals and wants you to participate in one. Thankfully, to your fried nerves, this solar deity is a benevolent Incan deity. He gracefully doesn't tell you what people use to sacrifice to him. And frankly, you don't want to know. Now that you agree to give back the sun, Inti wants to have an official ceremony. As the all-powerful god of their culture, the Inca raised temples and monuments to Inti everywhere. He's really spoiled for choice, but in the end, he takes you to the famous Inca citadel Machu Picchu. The air is a little thin up in the mountains, but at least he didn't haul you up bloodied steps. Instead, you stand in front of a weird-looking stone thing he calls the pointy carving an Intihuatana, or a hitching post of the sun. During the ceremony, he ties the sun to the earth, but complains all the way. Inti isn't used to doing the ritual himself. He used to have both male and female priestesses to help him out. Even Inca rulers did things for him. A solar eclipse appears and he apologizes. It happens when he's displeased. That's probably not good. Dangerous sacrifices tend to happen around Mesoamerican gods and their eclipses. You suggest he think of a good ceremony. He finally recalls the days when the Incas conquered other nations and used his mythology to suppress them. Is that what we're going through this day? With the sun worship, how they've twisted it in their books? The days when the Inca conquered other nations and used his mythology to suppress them. That's why I always say in my video, like I say, religion is stolen from America. Okay, that's not really what you want, what you meant. But at least the eclipse is gone. Kenichi How, Mayan sun god. Right. Kenichi How, elder brother of the upper god Itzamna. While Inti packs away his rituals, instead, let me see, being a Mayan god, you're not surprised. Okay, Kenichi looks to be middle-aged with a curved nose and big square eyes. All right. For one, inside there's a freakishly long calendar. Kenichi How was one of the guardians of the 52-year cycle called Landa. How many of us use that name like Yolanda? Shout out to my mother-in-law, Yolanda.
For one, inside there's a freakishly long calendar. Kinikaha was one of the guardians of the 52-year cycle called Landa, and he presided over a particular 4-year stretch. Great, you always wanted a calendar with 1,460 days. Another item in the basket is a gift card. You can spend a weekend of your choice at Lu, the sun god of the Celts.
Lu.
Less than IMG width equals 369, height equals 564, SRC equals https://haiku.v-cdn.net/wp-content/upload/2020/05/lu.jpg. Lu, on the other hand, is not a thoughtful guy. When he sets his mind to something, he gets it done. Normally, he's not a bad-tempered god, but he wants you out of Machu Picchu and away from the sun. That's a little insulting, but now's not the time to stamp your foot like Saul. Kinakaha told you how Lu's determination won him a position at King Nuada's palace and, on another occasion, helped him to defeat his own tyrannical grandfather, King Bulur, in battle. You're no match for this kind of brawn. The closest you've come to battle was when that spider sat on your toothbrush. Lu is also carrying a deadly weapon, his spear, known as the Spear of Victory, and the Invincible Spear. Both are apt titles, too, because Lu can be stone drunk and throw like a monkey, but he'll still hit his target. The spear never misses. It could strike down a far-standing grandfather whose throne you seek as easily as a near-standing human who stole the sun. Speaking of burning things, the weapon is too hot for anyone to handle except Lu. And the longer he uses it, the hotter it becomes. Other weapons are stored in safe rooms or locked drawers, but the spear has to rest in a vat of water at night to cool down. This is critical. Should Lu forget, the heat will grow until the spear catches fire and basically burns the world down. A royal warrior solar deity. Check. An overly Mithra, Persian sun god. Less than IMG width equals 1024, height equals 8. But Mithra isn't there for the view alone, although he did. Name, Mithra. Religion, Persian mythology. Realms, god of the rising sun, friendship, war, covenants, contracts, the seasons, Name, Mithra. Religion, Persian mythology. Realms, god of the rising sun, friendship, war, covenants, contracts, the seasons, cosmic order, royalty. Fun fact, conspiracy theorists believe that this ancient god was poached by Christianity to create Jesus. Your adventure ends with a movie moment. You and Mithra are sitting on your front porch watching the sun rise back to its rightful place in the sky. It's fitting that he's with you to witness the moment. Back in the day, Mithra protected kings and gave them a divine right to rule. However, he made them sign a contract to keep the order, but more specifically, the god wanted to see leaders who cared for their people. Neglecting them was a good way to break a covenant with him, and if they did, then he removed his support from the king. Nobody wanted that. This god kept the forces of darkness in check, judged souls in the afterlife, and protected humanity. He's kind of important. At the moment, he's ruffling your hair. He's impressed with your hijacking shenanigans, but it's time for order now. The god conjures a contract which states that you will never interfere with divine matters again. It's not just a matter of signing. Mithra can't be deceived and knows instantly when someone's heart isn't true.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate y'all stopping through. Let me see who all came through and bear with me. But real talk, you don't have a world without the sun. You don't have a religion without the sun. You know, I mean, duality is the sun and the moon. But at the very least, sun worship is what's going to be tend to be the most important. Yeah. So it's all sun worship. Helios, Biblios. You know, like I said, these words becoming trigger words. So people get hung up on a word like holy. You know, they hung up. You know, even the word halo, they get hung up. But it all represents, you know, that energy that's in you. You know, that's the best thing about melanin. You know, it's like I can talk to kids and get a better answer sometimes. You feel me? And I don't like that. But what I'm saying is, and like if I ask a child, okay, I have a sponge. If that sponge soaks up water, if I soak up some water, what is that sponge now? You know, even a kid knows it's water. That sponge is water at that point, right? So same thing goes for you. You know, we have that melanin. We have melanin. And like the brother Rate Bang Light Bender, you know what I mean? Like his symbols is showing that sunlight. That's what we absorb. Melanin absorbs sunlight. The melanocytes act as a black hole. Nothing else in the world or universe can emulate what a black hole does but your melanocytes. They literally absorb the sunlight. It don't die, it multiplies. It grows from that. It's like feed me, right? So you are literally absorbing sunlight. So you are sunlight. You are the light. That's for real. You know, and that's the basis behind all these religions. When you spell religion, what is it? R-E. Who is Ray? Ray is Ra. So this is Ray's Legion. Or the legions of Ray or Ra. This is Ra Legion. That's why we say Ra Legion or Ray Legion. Religion. But yeah, it's literally the Legion of Ra. Because it's all sun worship. Oh yeah, fraternal twins born out of different eggs, but still the similarity going to be there. You know, I ain't seen no fraternal twins that they might not look alike, but you know, like identical, but they're going to be like siblings to the point. They're going to be like real siblings to the point, like pretty much the same size. I mean, I've never seen a gigantic dude and a little girl. Even though it could be possible because somebody might overtook that womb. I don't know. I don't know a lot of fraternal twins, but I know some. Oh yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be in the 70s. You know, 1 second. Yeah, at least hey, I appreciate y'all pressing that one too. And let me know I ain't losing it. You know what I'm saying? It make you feel like you're losing it. Because the truth is stranger than fiction. You know what I mean? Shout out to all y'all. I appreciate y'all. My brother UTLS, I know he been here since he was here before all y'all. So I salute the brother for being here that long. You know, I appreciate all y'all. I'm sure y'all would have hung out with me if you'd have been here. But you know, I'm Shadow Man. So they're gonna always do me like that. And right. Liakum, Yalak, Yelnak. That's what's up. I appreciate you, brother. Damn right, Florida, stand up. So, yeah, I'm Shadow Band, so you know they always gonna do me like that.
But this time, you don't doubt your own intentions and scribble your signature on the bottom.
I'm gonna stay Shadow Band.
You are done with trying to turn a celestial body into profit. You like Mithra, he seems like a cool guy. And it's not every day that one gets to meet a Persian god that is still worshipped.
That's not it. Let me see. Yeah, it stopped. So let me see. Let's see what I had.
And you agree we have been
I would do that, but they're gonna want to play with me about the damn lame copyright. You know how they like to play. But yeah, I own the rights to it. As I'm attempting to show here now, the peyotes or the hair locks by the Brabant Jewish community can also be found in the Native American community, anciently so. So, obviously it proposes that this style is not only American, but obviously is, birthed here. This is the creation of the religion. So much of their religion and their cultures are stolen legacies from the Moors of America, of Rapa Nui. We already knew how much they usurped Egypt and other places, but now we see exactly